your 5-wing 4 host, Madison.
And I'm your 9-wing 1 host, Caden.
Okay, let's just jump right in. So, you can email us at EnneathingGoes@gmail.com, and we also have a Twitter at EnneathingGoes. And you should send us stuff because we are bored and we want to hear from you.
Yeah. And in case you're just jumping in, I don't even really know who listens to this or if you would jump in here, but we're an Enneagram podcast, based on the title.
We're on a bunch of other platforms, but you're probably listening to us on your favorite one. I will point out that we are on YouTube, and if you want to leave comments on individual episodes, it's probably a really good way. Some disclaimers. We're not safe for work.
No.
We curse, and we have a whole bit about sex and sex positions, so probably should not listen to us without headphones on. We are LGBT friendly, so we'll probably be talking about gay shit. And we are not professional Enneagram people. We don't have any certifications or anything like that. We are just Enneagram enthusiasts. So you probably shouldn't listen to us. But still listen to us, but only in an entertainment kind of value way.
Maddie, you're in charge of all of our ads from now on. Don't listen to us, but
we're just good for entertainment is what I'm saying. We're not professionals. You should not listen to us to improve your life or anything like that.
Oh God, who would come to us for life advice?
Right.
Please see a therapist instead.
Yeah, no. That is the worst possible idea. Yeah. So,
today, we're talking about 4s.
Yes. So, I love 4s. I have 2 of my best friends are 4s. My best friends growing up are 4s. So
my exes are 4s, so I apparently also love 4s. So it's happening. So wait, we need to wrap up. Last week we had 3s, and we had a question about 4s in our 3 episode. We didn't get no one talks to us though, so we didn't get any responses.
No, I got a response.
You got
from Lily, who does
Lily.
Listen. Yeah, okay. Who is a 4. So the question of the week last week was 4s, do you choose truth or dare more often? And so Lily said dare because, and this is a quote from her text message, dare because I will do anything, but I am unknowable unless on my own terms.
Oh my gosh. See, I really should have asked the 4s in my life this, but so I didn't meet her there. I ended up playing D&D with my ex, who is a 4. Mm-hmm. This is a long-winded story. Doesn't make any sense, but our D&D campaign consisted mostly of playing Truth or Dare, just because our plot line was pretty railroady and we didn't know how to roleplay at all. And she would literally always choose Dare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting, especially since, I don't know, I guess it keeps that mystique. I don't know.
Well, so the central thing for the 4 is you can't know me, because then you wouldn't love me.
Yeah.
I don't even know myself. How can you know me?
Some recap information. We did an episode, our intro episode, and we did a basic overview of each type. So to recap some of that information, 4's name is the bohemian, the individualist, and the aristocrat. Although, okay,
why are they aristocrats?
I don't know.
All I can think of is Aristocats, and like Aristocats reads better to me than Aristocrats.
I think that one was the one for the like 4-wing 3, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
See,
So like
I'm gonna disagree with that one.
In what
but maybe
way?
that's
Why?
just because I like, well, okay, so we're not even really that exes. Like, we dated for like a month and then we just became friends, and now we're gonna be living together with my current girlfriend later. Long story. Anyways, so she's a 4-wing 3, and she just doesn't. She's not bougie. Like, you hear Aristocat, or damn it, I'm just gonna fucking do that every single time I try to say the word. You hear aristocrat and you think about a certain like air of pretentiousness. And she's definitely got the sort of 4-way of like walking through the world, holding people at a distance because you're afraid to, like, I don't know, do something. Shame. It's not fear, it's shame. But it doesn't come off as pretension like the way I would think aristocrat does.
See, I can 100% see aristocrat. I can 100% see it. Oh, also, in Christoper Huertz's book, he references a couple of other... I just got his new book, or not a new book, I got his book and it's new to me. And he references that Helen Palmer calls them the tragic romantic.
Romantic, I can see.
But he does not like giving them names because he feels like it makes them a caricature and just distills them down to a not deep enough rendering. And I was like, okay, but like the names are a little helpful, so.
Okay. But also sounds like a 4.
Yeah. Also, so his the passions and virtues, it kind of, I'm not gonna lie, I was reading his description of the 4 and like I feel like it kind of would stroke a 4's ego, not gonna lie. I'll read it to you, but like never mind. I'll wait until we get down there, but like it would stroke a 4's ego, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So but yeah, so those are the names that we had. Basic fear and desire. So their fear is that they have no identity or personal significance. And their basic desire is to find themselves and their significance, or to create an identity. Yeah.
It's funny because, like, in certain ways, that bit about the 4 like makes sense to me, because as a 9, our whole thing is like, oh, I don't have an identity, I just merge with other people. Except like the way that they go about it is pretty unique, I think.
Don't 9s commonly mistype as 4s?
I thought I was a 4 at first.
Hold on, let me see.
I was deeply ashamed by the thought, but I thought I was a 4. I was like, this sounds right.
Yeah, so
I'm not a person.
In Huertz's book that I'm reading, he has like a mistyping section and like charts for like common mistypes, and 4 and 9 are mistyping frequency sometimes, and then because both are withdrawn types, that's his only reasoning for it. Doesn't really go into
withdrawn though, it's the identity bit.
Also, this is the 4 and 5 mistyping frequently is often usually between 5s with a 4-wing and 4s with a 5-wing. And like Lily mistyped as a 5 at first, but then I found out like she like retook the test and was like, this time I got a 4, and I was like, well, didn't you read the types? And she was like, well, no. And I was like, oh god, not a 5. I couldn't actually. I was like, did you even read the like type 5? And she was like, I mean, I did an overview and it was like, they're the smart type, right? And I was like, oh. No.
I bet fours mistype themselves a lot because they have this idea, like, so the basic thing about the heart triad, right? So the twos, the threes, and the fours are all part of the heart triad, which is about shame, but it's also about image, right? That's where the shame comes from, is an image of yourself that isn't like accepting and accurate of the value you hold as a person, right? But what was I thinking? Damn it. This is just gonna keep on happening today. Okay.
Oh, by the way, my quality is gonna go down very much because I am drinking wine. Because we already had dinner.
What? Okay. Let me grab my whiskey.
Okay.
Rude of you not to tell me that this was happening. It's the nice shit, too. It's a birthday present. Thank you, Mother, for sponsoring the drinking in this episode.
Mine, I am drinking West Virginia wine. It's a fruit and berry, celebrating the pride and tradition of West Virginia. Wild and wonderful raspberry.
Oh man, hands can't get this jar open. Where are my roommates when I need them?
Oh no. But yeah, I think the name of this wine is just West Virginia Fruit and Berry. Very good. Really recommend. It's very nice.
Oh, okay, so shit. I had something about self-identity and fours though. Haha. It's open. So I bet a lot of fours mistype themselves because they have this image of who they are that's all about covering up their insecurities of their self-identity and their worth, right?
Yeah.
And they fixate on an aspect of themselves that they think makes them special, right? Because their basic fear is that they're actually not special. So that's
and so they're mistype. Yeah, so if they mistype as like the
I get good grades, I'm super smart, I must be a 5. Or I'm so fun at parties, like all of my friends love having me around at parties because I'm such a good time, I must be a 7. Or like I am a rock of support in my family. I like make sure to take care of my siblings, I must be a 2.
Right. Especially, I feel like they probably have, I'm going to look it up, but they probably mistype often as 1s and 2s too, because those are their growth and stress points.
Well, let's talk about, is that on the agenda? I'm not even looking
at the agenda.
Yes,
that's next. That is next.
Let's talk about that then.
So they go to growth, they go to 1 in growth and 2 in stress.
You want to talk about health or unhealth? Both are fun.
Both are fun. So I mainly know average to unhealthy. No, Rhiannon's pretty. Rhiannon is pretty healthy, actually. I'm not gonna lie, and I feel like that is because her mom is like a child psychologist, and so growing up with a child psychologist kind of made her fairly, I mean, she still has her. Yeah, she still has. I feel like everybody grows up and has their like, little emotional hurdles and stuff like that. But like, growing up with a child psychologist as a parent, kind of, you're better like you're raised with those coping mechanisms and things, So she's fairly healthy. And so I don't know. I don't know.
Start with what unhealthy.
Unhealthy growth to 1 is interesting.
Going to 1 in growth. So you're growing. You're a better person now. Okay.
Kind of.
So I think a misconception with this could be, I am improving because I kept a notebook and kept a list of things, and I have a schedule and I stick to it and I clean my house. Does that mean that I'm a healthy 4?
See, I feel, okay, my mind went somewhere completely different with the 4 thing. And I feel like in unhealth, it's very hard to distinguish their growth to 1 and stress to 2.
Oh.
Because especially if they have like, if they're a sexual or social instinct variant. So like, for instance, one of my friends, what happened is, she didn't like her other friend's new boyfriend. She thought that they were like pretty abusive and stuff like that, and basically it destroyed her friendship because she couldn't let it go and like wouldn't stop talking about how the boyfriend was awful and how the friend should leave the boyfriend. And I can't tell.
Is that going to 2 and saying, I know what's best for you and I am going to give you what you need? Or is that going to 1 and saying this is wrong?
And see, that's what I can't tell. And I feel like they look very similar in unhealth like that.
See, okay, but I think, here's another thing though. I unconfirmed that my last girlfriend was a 4, but I highly suspect it for a number of reasons. Mainly, I read the Enneagram and I got to 2 and she told me to stop because she felt called out. But she didn't strike me as a 2, you know? So I think it was a 4 thing. And like, we all have those connections. He definitely wasn't an 8. Ooh. Anyways, like, part of the thing about that relationship was like towards the end of it, our ways of communicating and dealing with each other was very unhealthy. And part of that was I was pulling away because I was a 9 in stress, and so I was going to 6, getting very, very paranoid and like very concerned about like disrupting stuff. And so I would pull away from the relationship because I didn't want to be there, but didn't know how to say I didn't want to be there, or that I wanted things to change. And her response was to move towards me instead of away.
Well, then wouldn't she be a 2 then? Because 9, 5, and 4 are both withdrawn, and 2s are the compliant as moving towards people.
But I feel like 2s don't 2s just tell you to go fuck off when you like do shit like that?
They tell you to
done with you? Aren't they just like fuck you and they leave?
Once they're done with you, then they're like fuck you and leave. But if they're not done with you, then they can turn into like stage 5 clingers.
So maybe she was a 2. Maybe I haven't dated exclusively 4s.
I don't know. She still gave me 4 vibes, but maybe she was just going to 2 in maybe like a growth, like, I'm gonna not withdraw this time. I love you. I don't know.
Huh. I don't know. What were we on? Oh, stress, integration, and disintegration.
Yeah. And I feel like in unhealthy levels, it's almost impossible to tell which is which.
But, okay. I wonder what really healthy 4s look like.
Oh, okay, though I will say, okay, there's one story of growth to 1. A 4 friend that I have saw someone wearing a MAGA hat and just went the fuck off on this person, like out in public, and it was a very bad idea because then he got up and was a very big man, and the altercation got aggressive, and then she had to like run away and was like, why the fuck did I do that? So I think growth to 1 there. But then again, it also might have been stress to 2 because caring about people means kind of standing against those kind of principles. So once again, no idea.
Well, okay, let's break down. So this is a conundrum we have here, right? We can't figure out what a 2 looks like going, or what a 4 looks like going to 2 and what a 4 looks like going to 1. But let's break down essentially what the 4 is, why, what are some of their weak points and what are some of their strengths, and then why would each of the 2 and 1 numbers complement those, right? Because like our integration and our disintegration are really just coping mechanisms that we're having to deal with things that we're maybe not super good at, right?
Yes.
So, the essential nature of the 4, what are they bringing to the table?
In in what way? Like,
I don't know. We'll just break it down. So 4s are very insecure about their identity as a person. Fundamentally, right? That's the fear
okay,
is
the basic fear and desire. Okay.
Basic fear and desire, and then how that impacts how they move through the world, and then what that means about what areas they might need to grow in, and then what would that look like from a 1 side, what would that look like from a 2 side.
I still don't know, honestly.
All right, so here we go. This is just going to be a conundrum.
Okay.
Do you think that 4s really like the fact that we are very confused by 4s?
Probably.
Does it feed on the idea that they are unknowable?
So I think it's both. Irony? I think it's a double-edged sword. So yes, they want to be unknowable, but also they do kind of want to be known and have an identity and stuff like that. Yeah. And so for 4s, it can be kind of an aching thing to be known and want to be known. So it might be almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy for them. I knew you could never know me, but secretly they kind of want it,
Yeah.
But also they do kind of enjoy. I think it would be a disappointment. You're just like everyone else. I know. Of course, I am unknowable.
I think it's kind of ironic that 4s have the simultaneous push-pull that they have. That.
Because they do want that identity. They do want that significance. But they also.
That's what makes them special, though.
Yeah.
Right? But that's the whole reason that they're doing that, is because they're worried about being special.
Yeah. They're quite a conundrum. They are. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, you want to move on to intelligence?
Yeah. Yep, let's move on.
Okay. Intelligence centers. So they are part of the heart and shame center. So they're all up in their fields, and most of that field is shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to really add about that, because I feel like we've gone into that more in the other episodes.
It's just a hyper awareness of the self, I think, is maybe the 4's thing. Someone delivering something to my house?
Oh.
Did my roommate order something? The only roommate that's left is the one I never talk to.
You have a roommate you never talk to? Yeah. Granted, that might be why I don't know about them. Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
What type are they?
I kind of think they're transphobic.
Ooh. Oh no.
Yeah.
Drama in the Caden household.
Also very Christian.
Oh, a 1?
I think, I don't know. Maybe they're in stress or something. I don't know.
How did you end up moving in together? What happened?
Because
how did that happen?
We needed another roommate.
Who knew them?
We were living in the same dorm house together. And they seemed cool and quiet and pretty chill. And we're like, hey, we have a 4-bedroom house and we need another person because there are only 3 of us. Do you want to move in together? And they're like, sure.
6?
Anyways.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. Okay.
That's a huge tangent. What were we on
about? So we were moving on to the passions and virtues. Well, we were on heart and shame, but we're kind of tapering off that.
Everyone is ashamed of things.
Yes.
Except me.
Except
and
you.
7s.
Okay. Sure. All right then. Okay, so moving on to the passions and the virtues. So a little disclaimer about the passions and virtues. There are a bunch of different Enneagram theories and stuff. There's Sufi Enneagram and the Enneagram of personality and all these things. And a lot of them incorporate passions and virtues based on the 7 deadly sins, with fear and deceit being added to reach 9 distinct numbers. And a lot of them get very Christian-y. So if you're not really Christian, delve into those at like your own risk. I still like reading about them, and because I'm not really Christian, I like still reading about them. I think you can still take stuff away from them, and that they are grounded in a nice bit of the Enneagram. Today I'm mostly going to be taking from Huertz, who, even though he's real into God, he kind of doesn't like them being tied to sins, and he says that they are a coping tool to reconnect with essence, the most rudimentary contrivance we instinctively appeal to in our unconscious attempt to find our way home. So his are a lot less judgmental, and he doesn't generally do the traditional passion. So that being said, the traditional passion of the 4 is envy. Oh, I got a little feedback there.
Envious about, oh, I would be happy if only. Oh, I would be happy if only. I would be happy if only, but never actually taking the time to be happy.
Yeah, it's a little bit of the like the grass is always greener on the other side, and it's comparing themselves to others and that constant comparison. But yeah, so Huertz does this thing where he breaks it down into 3 distinct parts, which is carnal hunger, emotional ache, and existential restlessness. And basically, if you put carnal hunger and emotional ache together, you get existential restlessness. If you add existential restlessness to emotional ache, you get carnal hunger, and like so on through all of them. And it's kind of like a nice little loop. So for 4s, the carnal hunger is yearning, the emotional ache is abandonment, and the existential restlessness is wish. And he always replaces the traditional passion with the existential restlessness. So he would say that their passion is not envy, but rather wish.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're breaking this down. Wish is made up of...
Here, it breaks it down a little bit here in this passage I have, but also this really fuels... Hold on, I have to read this one part. I do, because it feels like it would fuel the ego of a 4, like just so much. Okay, so to quote Christoper Huertz, among the most misunderstood of the Enneagram types, 4s suffer the marginalization of what's misunderstood by them and about them. This has given their traditional passions notions of envy, a fraternal relationship to jealousy, but it's much more delicately nuanced struggle than mere enviousness. And it gets even more in like the passion, or like it when he explains it like in depth, it's very...
Do you want to love being called delicate and nuanced?
It's more they're misunderstood, and there's like a delicate nuance that can't be understood, and that they're special because of that.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah. Here's his quote about them.
Does that rub against your 5 sensibilities that you can't understand something?
A little bit, yeah.
How do 4-wing 5s cope though? If like I can't be understood, but everything can be understood because I will understand it.
I think it's probably an ego thing with like, I must be smarter than other people, maybe. Because like I can understand everything else, but no one can understand me.
So I bet that 4-wing 5s mistypes themselves as 5-wing 4s a lot. Like Lily.
In Enneagram for Idiots, Tara mistyped as a 5. Yeah. And she was gung-ho until like one of her teachers was like, maybe rethink that. Mm-hmm. So, and it is, he said it's very often that 5-wing 4s and 4-wing 5s mistype each other. And there are times like when I will hear about 4s and I'll be like, ooh, and then they'll say something about emotions and I'm like, nah, that's not me.
Nah.
There it is.
Emotions? What are those?
But yeah, honestly, I feel like the distinct difference between 5-wing 4s and 4-wing 5s is probably emotions, whether or not you have them. If you have emotions and you're in touch with them, you're probably a 4. If you don't, then you're probably a 5, and that's probably the best way if you're struggling between those two.
Are 4s actually in touch with their emotions, though?
Oh, very much so.
Okay.
I feel from all the 4s I know, yes.
Because I mean,
especially if you get close to a 4, if you get really close to a 4, they do.
Maybe that's their process of self-growth, though.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because, I mean, maybe this is just me coming from the, like, center of the body center, you know? Where centers are notoriously just bad at being in touch with their actual thing. Like, I have one thing I'm known for, but I'm bad at doing it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I just kind of assume that a lot of the type manifestation actually occurs with the initial removal from that and then the reclamation of it in growth.
I would highly disagree with that as a head type.
Because you're in your head.
I'm constantly in my head. I am
Maybe
aware
that's
that I'm
just
in
a
my
center
head.
thing then. Maybe that's just me.
I think it is, because that's the whole. So, like, one is external facing, one is internal facing, and one is the most, but then removed from it. So I feel like you're probably just
facing nowhere.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, 4s in their heart and
their internal.
shames, they're internal facing.
So 2s turn all of that shame outward
and
push it on other people, and 4s take all of that shame and gobble it up and just keep it in their pocket for a rainy day so they can cry over it.
Exactly. And so that's why I think they're still in touch with their emotions. And especially once you get close enough to a 4 where they're like, okay, this person can know me, or I would like, there is, because they want to be known. And so they're like, I want this person to know me.
I want
then
you to know me. I don't know if you can, though.
Exactly. But
is
then
are 4s in it for the like, challenge? Is that like?
Maybe a little bit. But like, I think there's always that like fear of like, not, it's that, it's what I was saying before, where it's like, I want you to know me, but I don't think you can.
Yeah.
And then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy because they withdraw. And so, but like, once you find a 4 friend that you connect with, they do want you to know them. Like, they both want you to know them and don't want you to know them, but they are willing to like info dump a little bit more, and then they do want to talk about their feelings so much. And I'm just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can't decide whether one of my friends is a 4 or a 5, and I know that they are like crossing that gap. One of their wings is the other one. But they've got and it the can vibes also of like, I don't want you to perceive me, but I think that they actually don't want anyone to perceive them, which makes me think that they're a 5.
Well, see, Lily will send me texts often where she's like, I am being perceived literally exact words, I'm being perceived right now, and I don't want to be perceived. I don't want to have a human body. I don't want to be literally, I do not want to be perceived, are like quotes that I can find.
Difference between emotion and thoughts.
See, I don't care if other people perceive me. Especially since, like, if I don't want, there's that, like, info greed. If I don't want them to have that information, they're not going to have it because I have it. But I don't really care about being perceived as much. You know what I mean? It's like with the truth or dare, like, I'll do truth or dare depending on what seems more into my best interest.
This is why you are chaotic neutral. Our earlier pre-stream conversation.
Yes, before we started this, we were discussing this because KJ, my partner, says that I am neutral evil, and I highly disagreed because it's not malice, it is just self-interest. And sometimes my self-interest appears as malice, or it appears as like benevolence, so it's neutral, and there's just a little bit of chaos there.
Hey man, I read you.
Okay, so I really want to read Huertz's whole excerpt because it just so this is him explaining how carnal hunger and emotional ache and existential restlessness all interact within the 4. And also, just like the 3 one, it doesn't make, like, it's there, but it's not really connecting a little bit with me, so we might have to, like, delve into this one a little bit more. So,
Right.
the physical experience of envy, okay, I'm already. The physical experience of envy may be more akin to a somatic yearning, which is their carnal hunger, held in the bodies of those who feel more uniquely complex than simple personality descriptions can caricature. In repressing their body center, this yearning is felt as hunger that their abandoned hearts sense must be starved, lest it become too strong of an internal driver, translating the world through an emotional sense of abandonment, both self-abandonment and their unconscious attempts to be or feel abandoned by those in their lives, as the confirmation bias of it. That's what I was trying to. The confirmation bias, yeah.
Oh wait, no. I think I just
Mhm.
continue, but I think I got something.
Those dominant in type 4 mentally experience this convoluted sense of envy as ethereal wishing. This is the gentler side of their impassioned longing for what they assume to be more significant than what their current quality of being offers.
Okay. Do you want to hear my O moment?
Yes, I definitely do.
So we think about 4s being so internal,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the problem is, and the solution really, like, to get past that internality, is like, the reason that they're internal is because they're assuming that they already know what is happening outside of them.
Oh.
Right? Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You're assuming how other people live their life is somehow better than yours. It's somehow more fuller. It's somehow like that there's some sort of innate thing that they possess that you lack. So you go internal to fix it. But you don't actually know the truth of it is that, like, no one else has anything that you don't have. You know, in terms of your makeup as a person.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
you're perfectly fine. You're perfect. That's the one perfection, just the way you are. Just like everyone is perfect. It's that equalizing force of the one where you can see, I'm not better than other people. Other people aren't better than me. We're all perfect. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that goes down to their, like, virtue when they finally find that.
Right. And I think that's the, like, part of the problem with it is that because 4s are so internally focused, it must be so hard for them to actually reach, like, take that first step to reach outside of themselves. Take that first step to get to know just let people know them. Like, not just get to know other people, but let people know them.
Mm-hmm.
And then through that, actually know other people. My 4 friend, my roommate, does this thing that a lot of 4s, I'm sure, do, which is that she idealizes other people. She has this image of who they are and what they represent to her, that she never steps outside of that and takes the time and the effort to, like, see them as something outside of her internally created image of them. Right? So she'll have a crush on someone, and instead of, like, she knows that she internalizes and idealizes things. So her solution is like, well, I'm just not going to do that, so I won't pursue things. But actually, what you need to do is you need to get to know that person so that your image and perception of who they are that you've built up in your head can take in actually the reality of who they are as a person. Right? And you can start to integrate that into your internal life. And once you start to do that, you start to realize that you're not actually that different from other people. But that doesn't mean that you're not less special, you know?
Yeah.
That's my big takeaway from all of that.
I feel like that's very well put. I liked that. It made me.
I would like to thank the whiskey.
It made me think of when you were talking about that, it made me think of one of the other quotes I had, which is from another website, which will be in the references, but I can't remember what it's from. So, four's some of their internal dialogue is, I see that I am comparing myself to others and feeling superior or inferior in order to be special.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole, yeah.
The one is an equalizer, but the two creates a power imbalance where you either are not enough and need to give to other people, or you know what's best and dominate them.
This is very interesting because my 4 friend Lily, her mom is a 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And very interesting that this gets brought up because recently Lily's partner was very sick and they had to like go to the hospital and everything like that. And Lily's mother, who is a 2, was like, I feel like it's good for you to have someone to take care of. And I feel like it brings out the best in you. And Lily was texting me and was like, I don't understand how she sees that because I fucking hated all of this. It was
yeah.
I feel like going to 2 is definitely a stress thing. Like, not to say that they can't, like, you know, nurture and take care of their partners, but like going to 2 is a stress
being
thing.
Nurturing is not exclusive to 2s.
Yeah.
Anyone can be nurturing.
Yes. But like going to 2 is definitely a stress situation for her. And it was very interesting to see that 2-4 conversation where the 2 is like, oh, yes, it's so good to have someone to take care of. And the 4 is like, what the fuck are you on about?
I fucking hate this. Go back to being self-sufficient, please. I want to take care of you on my terms. Thank you. Maybe an 8 would say that.
There was this post that I saw.
An 8 would go to 2 briefly and then be like, nah, I'm fine.
There was this post that I saw and it was like 8 friends where like the 8, it's this dude texted his friend and he's like, hey, are you okay? And the friend was like, no, not at all. And then the dude texted back, okay, just checking. And it was like, you're 8 friends?
You know what?
It was wonderful.
Yeah. That or, oh, BB, and then no response. just leave it. That sucks for you. Bye.
I have started taking a page out of your book where you would just send oof. And now when I have no idea what to say because like I'm a 5 and I don't do emotions, I just send oof. That sucks.
It's really great to have a default for I am not prepared to deal with the emotions of the situation, but it seems like this merits a response. I used to just not respond to people, but then that would make them mad.
See, that's also what I used to do too, or I would like try to empathize and it just wouldn't work because like I don't, like, okay, I can empathize, but like I would just either empathize too much, like going into like, okay, I like going straight into like knowledge and like head type empathizing, or just like no response at all, and it would it was just too bad. So oof is so nice. Oof is my growth to 8.
That's, you gotta fucking distance yourself. Distance yourself from that shit.
Okay, so want to move on to the virtues? Okay, so 4 virtue is, and I have no idea if I'm saying this correctly, equanimity. Equanimity?
I think equanimity is a right pronunciation.
I hope so. I had to look up the definition of it. I'm not going to lie.
What does that even mean?
So here, I copied and pasted it into our notes. Mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in a difficult situation. And so what this looks like in a 4 for their virtue is a healthy, quote, a healthy 4 will understand that their emotions are the sea, constantly ebbing and flowing, and all the drops of water are part of the whole. This leads them to be at peace with their emotional state, accepting the rise and fall of the waves of feeling. They understand that they are unique. Yeah, they understand that they are unique and special, and so is everyone else. They bring an awareness of the authentic, unique divine that resides within each person. So they basically just kind of let stuff go and just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to ride the waves. It's cool. Everything's fine. But like in a not like the dog, everything is fine and the house is on fire, but like in a legit, everything is fine.
Like,
I'm going to feel these.
Out.
Yeah, things will work out. Just some inner peace. They find inner peace and they let go of envy, which leads to the fixation of melancholy. So they let go of that fixation of melancholy and just let their emotions kind of ride. And they experience the happiness when they're experiencing it, and they experience their sadness when they're experiencing it, instead of just fixating on all the melancholy and sadness.
So this is different than what I do as a 9, which is eventually in the future things will be good, or in the past things were good, and you don't ever experience the present. 4s are already in the present, right?
But they're just like focusing on only certain parts of the present.
But now they're experiencing all of the present instead of just their discomfort.
I feel like every type, their growth point is somehow starting to live in the present. And so like 5s, there's always 5s have a tendency to like hoard the information and then relive events over and over and over again in their mind. And it's like an addiction to just not live in the present but relive it later when you can like be alone and savor it. And then their growth point is to like live in the present and actually experience it in the present. So like, I don't know. I feel like
you're already, 5s are making a documentary in their mind constantly, except like, why make a documentary when you can just be here?
Because, okay, the documentary is so good. Like, I am a master. You should watch some of my mental documentaries. They're great.
I don't think I have any qualifications to do anything film related. I can try to be your producer. Maybe.
I wish I could show you some of my like mental because they'd be more perfect than reality. That's the problem, is that they're more perfect than reality because I just shift out.
But reality is already perfect.
No, it's not. But okay.
But that's the thing though, is that
I know.
That's the 5 thing, is that you can't. It's just things are going to be what they are, and you gotta experience and enjoy what life is offering. And some of you need to hang out with. Don't you love ones?
I do love ones.
So the imperfections of the universe are what makes it perfect.
No, but I mostly know average ones who still get hung up on all the imperfections.
You gotta come hang out with my sister. She is average, but really, really has experienced some startling self-growth in the past 5 years.
Okay, but honestly, I love Selena so much. Selena, if you're listening, shout out. I love you.
Right. She's just great.
I love one so much, and I do wish that, I don't know, I wish that we could have, I don't know. There's part of me that wishes I could move to New York to like hang out with her a little bit more.
There'll be more time.
I know.
You know what? She's not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Where are we at
now? Blind spots. Well, we were still in the virtue, but I feel like we should probably move on.
Yeah.
We're pushing 55 minutes. So, blind spots. So, I'm just going to go through these real quick and then we can discuss them a little bit. So 4s want to have a meaningful and deeper relationship, but they also want to feel different and special and separate. So they often live in this constant push-pull relationship with people. And then that makes them feel rejected and disappointed, even though they're also pushing people away. But it's because whenever they push people away, people tend to like withdraw from them because they're like, oh, this person doesn't really like me.
Yeah.
So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy with that push-pull, and when they push people away, people leave. Because that's what happens. When you push people away, they leave.
No, but I wonder if there are a lot of 2s and 4s together.
Oh,
because a 2 would not leave. They would not leave if you push them. As a 9, being with a 4, no, I'm getting the fuck out of there. You don't want me there? I'm not going to cross your boundaries.
Okay,
no.
So I looked this up. Well, I didn't personally look this up. KJ had his doubts that I was actually a 5. And so he was reading about type 4s in a relationship with type 2s and type 5s in a relationship with type 2s. And he felt that the type 2 and 4 relationship more characterized ours. And I was like, you don't know.
Is this boy really questioned that you were a 5?
He doesn't anymore.
Okay.
Now
I was about to have words with him.
This was like at the very beginning of a relationship,
okay.
And that was because what was happening is we would only see each other every like 6 weeks. And so he would get there at like the build up, and so I would be very romantic and lovey-dovey. And then I could leave.
Wait, is that, I don't want to say this, but
go ahead.
Is the reasons that lesbians do long distance relationships is because they all 5s? Is
Maybe.
that it? Is
don't
that
know.
Lesbians? Can you confirm? I'm not one anymore, so I can't. But can you confirm? Is that what that's about?
But yeah, so it said 5s often do better if the relationship starts out long distance. And then I was reading that and I was like, you know what, that makes sense, because there was like that longing makes the heart grow fonder. And then I would just launch all of my romantic feelings, and then when they would be out, I would just leave, or he would leave because it was long distance,
Mm-hmm.
So it was
you
great.
Could just flee.
Mm-hmm. So he was experiencing only like, honestly, the more 4 side of me, and then, but I ended up reading that because he was like, I think this one's more what our relationship was like. And I was like, what? So I went to go read it, and it was like 2 and a 4 relationship almost never happens. They're more likely friends.
Huh.
And
are they too similar?
I don't think it's that they're too similar. It's just that the 4 likes the like challenge of like, maybe having to get some, you know what I mean? Whereas the 2 just either loves you or, yeah.
It's too easy? Well, okay, no, here's the thing. It's not the challenge necessarily. It's that 4s need to crush and idealize on someone that they know they can't really get, because that's the push-pull of it, is that they want to be able to stay at a distance. It's not a challenge because they're not actually trying for it. They want to be able to have an attachment to something, but then excuse them not taking action, because then that would mean that like they had to be seen and known.
That makes sense. I like that. Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Oh, and I have
2 good points of commentary today. I'm all out.
I was just gonna blow through all these blind spots, but then we stopped to discuss that one blind spot, so that's great.
Okay, just continue. I won't talk.
Okay. 4s focus on what is missing, and desiring what they don't have, and rejecting what they do have, and that alternating focus reinforces their feelings of loss and emotional sensitivity. This one interested me a lot. I was like,
I don't know if it's rejecting what they do have. Fuck, I said I was gonna comment.
No, it's fine. This next one, I already started commenting. This next one I find interesting, and it's definitely like, I don't know if I want to read it because it seems a little mean, but it's fine. 4s may not be aware of the extent that they self-reference in conversations, and so people can think of them as being self-absorbed, even if they're just trying to connect. The next one is, this type is likely to be triggered if they don't fully complete a conversation, or if people don't give them the time they're requesting. So 4s often feel the need to continue a conversation even when others like feel that the matter is over, or don't feel like discussing it at that instant, or and so they push the issue to then. In believing that others share their preference for discussing emotions, which is not true in my case. Oh God.
God, no, thank you.
No, never. I don't want to discuss them at all.
I don't even want to feel them.
4s, so in believing that others share their preference for discussing emotions and feelings and seeking emotional closure, 4s may dwell on this too much, and they could lead to others experiencing the 4 as overly dramatic and intense. So, yeah.
Okay.
Especially since they're in the emotional reactive triad. for the harmonics.
So they're just gonna, but it's gonna seem like they're blowing up about things
when
that it's like a big deal, when that's just their level of normal. You know.
Okay, question though.
Here's the thing,
if that
everyone.
is their level of normal, are they just dramatic and intense?
Here's the thing, everyone, though. Y'all think that 4s are intense, but you haven't seen jack shit. Okay? Here's the thing.
Who's actually intense then? What?
I don't know. I just said that. I don't know who I was talking to. Non-4s.
It just sounded like you were like, you think they're intense, but here's this other one that's more intense. And I was like, how?
A 9 go off? Have you? No, I'm just kidding. 9s don't go off.
That's where I thought you were going. That's where I thought you were going with that, and I was about to be like,
No, 9s don't go off. 8s bring the intensity.
Yeah. You want to move on to strengths, or do you have any more discussion?
No, I'm good.
I want to personally apologize for their self-absorbed. I got these from a website that will also be in the references on our show notes.
The self-absorbed comment?
Yeah, because it just seemed like such a call out, and I feel like 4s are probably gonna.
I feel like they're
feel bad about that one. I feel like that'll be the.
I feel like calling them self-absorbed will make them more self-absorbed, though. You know, like that's not a. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. But when you tell someone you should get over yourself, their immediate thought is, fuck, I've been making everyone uncomfortable. I'm a horrible person. I'm so self-absorbed. And then it just makes them more self-absorbed. Okay? 4s, get past the idea that you're self-absorbed. It's okay. Everyone is. Literally everyone is. Do you know how many times we talk about 5s and 9s
very
in this podcast about 4s? It's like every other sentence is about 5s and 9s. We're not even.
I feel like I've also been commenting a lot more on 5s in this one, just because 4 is my wing, and so it draws a lot of my 5-4 comparison.
It's okay. I feel like I'm every type. That's just what it is. That's just how I roll. Oh, that's me. That's me. I've been there.
So, 4 strengths are that they are self-aware, purpose-driven, sensitive, and courageous. So their self-awareness is less to do, it's more awareness of their own emotions. Less how they're coming off, less about that, but they're aware of their emotions and other people's emotions, and how to like connect deeply. Purpose-driven.
I feel like 4s are also just really great friends.
They are.
Like, have you ever had a 4 in your corner backing you up when shit really hits the fan?
Especially when they go to 1. It's so nice. If they go to 1 on your behalf.
And they like talk you through all of it.
It's so nice. They're just, I love them. Okay, purpose-driven. So like, because they're so connected to like, what they want and like what they think will make them be unique and stuff. When they get that purpose and they're like, this will make me unique, they get very driven about it. And even when they're healthy and they have less of that, like, this will make me unique, they're still like, that driving purpose, like, still stays with them. They're so sensitive because, you know, they're in touch with their emotions and they're in touch with the emotions of others. Oh, I think I skipped over inspired. They're inspired too. And they're creative and imaginative.
You know what? I know we've gone so off the rails in this episode, but can we just take a moment to think about the sociological consequences of being like assigned female at birth 4 and assigned male at birth 4? I just wonder what that differences look like based on like male socialization patterns, specifically being like boys shouldn't be sensitive.
You know what I think it ends up being?
What?
Is like the broody boy. Like
the emo boy?
Yeah, the broody
like that's
emo.
Your outlet?
Yeah. Maybe a little punk too.
little punk and emo. Hey, for men, did you have a punk and emo phase? Are you still in the punk and emo? It's not a phase then. Like, you're just punk and emo. But like, I just, I'm sorry, I had a stray thought. I was thinking about it. That it must be tough to be a 4-man around toxic masculinity.
Or maybe the presence of toxic masculinity makes it a little bit easier for them, because then they can be like, I'm so different from other men. I am in touch with my emotions.
Incels? I'm sorry. Like, I'm sure 4s in general are like just great people. I just don't have a lot of faith in, like, it takes a lot of fucking work to break from toxic masculinity, especially as a man. I can appreciate that. So you got to put in a lot of shit. But what that means is a lot of men don't get that far.
What type are incels? Are they like 4s and 2s?
I think they're like literally all types. I think it's just toxic masculinity.
It might just be.
People forget that toxic masculinity is also toxic to men.
Yeah, they
Not to say that it's not toxic to women, y'all. I get it. Don't worry.
But like, yeah.
But
the thing is, though, it's so self-imposed, and then they think everyone else, like,
yeah.
Like, I love listening to those debates of like, what about the high body standards for men? Like, women only want like ripped, muscular men, and it's like, have you seen a women's magazine? We want like unassuming men in like sweater vests and like sweaters cuddling dogs. Boys. Yeah, please. We all love soft boys. Like, it's amazing the comparison. Like, I think the one they use most often is like Hugh Jackman, where like
Hugh Jackman loves singing in musicals and wearing period-appropriate clothing. Excuse you?
Right.
Have you seen that man?
No, but like when he was Wolverine, wasn't he?
He was, but he just wants to be in Les Mis.
No, but see that's the thing. That's what they use as like an example, because in the cover of men's magazines they have him all ripped and stuff and like posing as Wolverine. But in the women's magazines where he's like living his best life, he's just like in these nice sweaters, just smiling, All right, so let's move on to fun stuff. So sex position. We found this one website, and what they do is they did like favorite sex position based on your Enneagram type. So for the 4 on this website, it said the favorite sex position of the 4 is chair sex. And their quote is, "The individualist is inherently creative and loves to be adored for being unique. They would likely enjoy chair sex because it's a hot change of pace from getting down on a bed. They can either sit on the chair and have someone ride them or be the one on top."
I feel like that's bullshit.
Once again, yeah, honestly, I feel like they just came up with like a bunch of basic positions,
and then we're like, started handing them out to people, and they're like, we need an explanation for why this is this, but we don't know why.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't think, honestly, I feel like with them wanting to be unique, part of that is them wanting to be like unique and creative in bed. And so if you're just sitting there and having someone ride you, that's not showing how unique you are in bed.
I also think that 4s might come with a lot of shame in the bedroom. And I meant that not as a pun, but now that I said that, it is a great pun.
So with that, every 4 I know is a freak. In the bedroom.
I mean, yes, like, and you can be a freak though and also be kind of awkward about things at first.
Maybe. Okay. I'm just gonna say though that chair sex, I don't buy it.
It's not out there enough.
Not necessarily out there enough, because I also want to keep this. I get the idea of like wanting to keep it a little vanilla, that way like everyone can relate a little bit. And so that's why I would disagree and say bondage. Because everyone likes a handcuff every now and then, but I think for the 4s, because they have that fear of abandonment, if someone is handcuffed, tied down, then they can't leave you. Or vice versa, if you're the one handcuffed, then that means they really want you because they're keeping you.
I really don't know. My expectation was, because you're a shame-centered type, things are just going to be awkward at first. But then you're going to purposefully, like, get over the awkwardness so you can have a lot of bravado about it. No matter what the bravado is about.
I feel like shame regarding sex might be more of a one thing based on whether this is morally right or not. And I feel like 4s like the uniqueness of sex and like
it's like a way to connect to people on an
like
intimate level.
Yeah, it's the most intimate connection, but like not really, you know what I mean? Like right. There's that stereotype that is the most intimate connection, but it really isn't. I don't know.
Is it then like, do they feel unfulfilled by it? Is it like, oh, I was seeking a bunch of intimacy, but really all I got was a hookup?
That is 4s who do random hookups that I know of, which is like, not gonna lie, only about two that I know their intimate sex life and know that they did random hookups. It was very unfulfilling, and they wanted that fulfillment and then didn't get it. And there was
deep emotional talks.
Yes, and
that's like sex. Yeah, you know, it's better than sex.
But yeah, I also just did bondage because bondage can be as unique or ununique as you want it to be. Like there's this book I read. It's like the Dark Swan series, and I'm fairly certain one of the characters in it is a 4. And in it, his bondage gets very creative, where he gets all these like scarves, and it sometimes irritates his partner because he'll want to tie her up like very intricately, and she's like, "Can we just bone?" Total 8, by the way. The partner is, and he's like, "No, I must tie these." And then he like sits back and admires like his knot work. Like he'll like first like is a whole point where she's like, he's not even really looking at me right now, he's looking at his knots, and then he admires the whole package.
Oof.
And so that was a whole thing. And like also every 4 that I know
is into bondage.
Yeah, so in some shape or form. Maybe it's just the occasional handcuff, you know, maybe it goes a little deeper, who knows, you know, just depends.
Handcuffs are just too cocky for me. Like, I can't, really doesn't excite me at all.
I don't like handcuffs because they kind of hurt. I prefer leather cuffs. But that, once again, the alcohol, that was too much information. Oh, God.
Just edit it out. Edit it out in post. None of this happened.
But yes. Okay. So where did we stand on 4s? Their favorite sex position?
I was undecided. I think that they're just trying to be edgy. And it's a really big sliding scale about what edgy means.
Oh, so it's just whatever edgy means to them. So like some forms it might, to some 4s it might just be like anal, and to the others it might just be bondage.
Yep. I think that's it. I think they want to be edgy.
Okay.
Because it's that ego thing of like, I have to like have the illusion that I am, not illusion necessarily, but there's definitely an image-based thing about like being good at sex being something that is valued by society. You know, which is obviously more complicated than that, I know, but like showing experience and competence is a way of creating a self-image.
I really can't wait until we get to our episode where we're going to read the book about the girl who wrote The Sex and Enneagram, or Enneagram and Sex, or something like that.
Yes.
I really cannot wait until we read that and do that episode, because I feel like that's going to answer a lot of the questions that we came up with in doing this whole little series on sex positions. Stay tuned for that episode in like a fucking year, because we only release an episode a month.
Eventually we'll get to a point where we're more on top of it.
Yeah, it's
once our lives figure everything out.
All right, I'm going to do my dog thing real quick. Each episode I've been comparing a type to a dog, and so for this episode I couldn't decide between 4s being Shih Tzus or 4s being Schnauzers. Schnauzers are just, I've had had my dog Nikki for like a while, and he's a little miniature schnauzer, and his whole thing is that I want to be picked up, I want to get down. Like, there's always like a sense of rejection coming from him, even if you're giving him love. Schnauzers are very intelligent. However, they know exactly what you're telling them to do, but won't do it. So, like, for instance, Nikki would not, like, he knew the command sit, but he would not do it unless he saw a treat in your hand, and then he was like, okay, I'm going to get a treat. I'll sit down, because fine. So a little bit of that headstrong independence that can kind of come with force. Shih Tzu is kind of the same thing. Really just crave love, but also sometimes just don't want to be held. It's weird. Yeah. So moving on to memes. I have 2 memes, I think. And one,
the memes that I made. I didn't make them, I found them. Why am I taking credit for this?
One of them is from Tumblr, and it's Allison, I think this is pronounced Zai. It's Allison Zai. There will be a link to this in our show notes. She drew a little cartoon with a person / rabbit human talking to their brain. And so the brain says, it seems like we hate ourselves a little more than usual today. And then the person goes, yes. And then the brain says, shall we do something dramatic and reckless? And then the person says yes again. Definitely sums up force. I love them. And then another one that I had is, it's a like washed out Maury Povich, which says, whoa, this horror is beyond the comprehension of mortal man. And I just feel like that's a very 4 aesthetic.
Okay, hold on, because I definitely screenshotted a couple of 4 things. One of them I called 4s ? One of them I called half of 4s, and one of them I called, oh, totally 4s. So let's start with the thing that's questionably 4 and move up. I'll try to find what the links were. I also found these on Tumblr. I don't remember where I got them from. We'll put it somewhere in the show notes. But it's an anime show, and it's a lady and a young girl sitting at a dinner table, and the lady asks, why don't you just act like yourself? And the young girl says, because when I do, they all leave me.
Oh, that seems kind of 4-ish.
Yeah, that seems kind of 4-ish, right?
I'll say that that's more 4 than any other type.
Half of 4s, what that one is labeled as, is a caption, people on social media that don't post anything, and then an image of a woman inside the ceiling panels, like with the panel removed, just looking down semi-disdainfully on the rest of the room.
I'd say that one is more 5s.
I would say that's 4-wing 5, though.
Potentially.
They go on social media because they want to see the fun jokes and the memes, but they're too scared of being known to actually post anything. So they just kind of look into anything.
But a lot of them, so a lot of 4s I know are very active on social media. I say a lot of 4s I know, but I only know like 5 ?
I feel like you can be active on social media in a 4, or you can be absolutely not active on social media but still have social media. Because it's the either like I'm creating an image, or it's the I don't want to be known.
But see, I feel like with social media it would bring out more their I want to create an image.
It depends on what platform, though.
Maybe. I feel like, here's the thing, though. I feel like every 4 that I know never posts anything personal. They post edgy things or, like, stuff that would make them seem cool. Never a personal post. Only on occasion. Yeah. And so I feel like there's more the appeal to be seen, but not necessarily seen deeply. Because even when they don't want to be seen, they still want to be seen. You know what I mean? And so I feel like 4s would
it's
just...
the FOMO.
Yeah.
But I think that they participate only in so much as they can decrease their FOMO.
Okay.
We will... 4s, tell us, are you active on social media? And if so, does that change across platforms?
Okay. I feel like the other one, the one that you were like questioning whether or not that was 4,
was more of a questionable one.
Like, this is the more questionable one. The other one was like, yeah, that's a 4.
Okay. Here's my one that's absolutely a 4. It's the caption, me showing the homies who I'm in love with this week, and has a picture of Brad Pitt and Matt Damon. I'm pretty sure that's who they are. They're generic white boy actors. And Brad Pitt is showing Matt Damon a photo on his phone.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
That's a 4.
That's a 4.
That's 4s. That's who you are. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules.
Okay. Should we move on to wrap up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, question of the week. Next episode is going to be on 5. So, question for 5s. I honestly had trouble coming up with a question because I am a 5, and so I know it all. I know everything about 5. I know everything about 5s. I have no questions. I'm just kidding. But
you're not,
so. Shh, don't call me out.
Wait, for our 5 episode, should we have it be that I am the one presenting information and you have to yay or nay it?
Okay,
you
yeah,
cannot
we can do
say
that.
any info. You're not allowed.
I would die. I'm gonna die.
I'm just kidding. You can talk about yourself. It's fine. But
you can
just
still
think about that format.
I definitely feel like you should introduce every topic and me just be sitting, and then like as soon as you finish, just like let me pounce. I feel like that's gonna be great.
I will do some research into it.
Oh,
I
will actually research?
I haven't researched any fucking. I think people should have figured out by now. I don't research.
Yeah, our show notes is. Did you add anything to the show notes?
No,
I have 4 pages of notes.
I read that book you sent me, and I was going to go look at my Kindle of the Helen Palmer 4.
You didn't even do that one this week.
But like it's fine. It just kind of is extra. Like when real life gains start to materialize through those maybe fruits of years of anticipation and effort, attention will predictably shift to that what is missing in life. Like, it's fine. I don't need to. Helen Palmer, you're fine.
Okay.
Kind of boring.
Part of me, I'm A-okay with doing all of the research, but I just feel like if neither one of us was doing research, this would be even more of a train wreck.
Like, but, people love watching train wrecks.
That's true.
Have you learned nothing about the internet?
That's
they wouldn't
very true.
be watching it. Like, the fact that we're doing the Enneagram wouldn't matter anymore, because it would just be us being fucking dumbasses. But I feel like train wrecks are entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Should I not? Train wreck is entertaining.
Should I not do any research for the next episode and just live?
I don't.
And let you do all the research? I will die, but it's.
I don't want you to die. I'm just saying that for the 5, I will make an effort.
I will let you. There was a one point where you suggested you just taking us through a 9 for your episode, and I'll just sit back. I'll do that. Should I just not do any research for that episode?
Sure. Just let me talk about being a 9.
Okay. Cool.
I can talk about myself. I talk about myself every day. All day.
All right. So, question of the week. This is the only thing I could come up with for 5s, and it came from so there's a Tumblr that I really like called Incorrect Enneagram Quotes, and there's this one where it was like a 5's dilemma. Well, it was like a 5 having a dilemma about whether or not they should go to their high school reunion because they want to know everything, but they don't actually want to go. So, 5s, do you plan on going to your high school reunion / did you go? Did you enjoy them? What was your experience? Why did you go? Why didn't you go? Hit me up.
This doesn't count if you're part of the class of 2020.
This doesn't count.
You didn't get a real graduation. Y'all.
That's true. But yeah, especially since my 5-year reunion is coming up and it's supposed to be in July, which we'll see if coronavirus will let that happen. I don't know where we're going to be in July. But the debate is still up in the air for me. So I'm hoping to get some wisdom from some other fives. Like, if you went and it was just awful and you have the, like, just don't go, then, maybe I won't go.
Reunions are always awful. What are you talking about?
They are, but I want to know. Will it be worth it if I get that info?
I will confuse so many people if I show up to my high school reunion. I haven't told anyone I transitioned.
Oh, that's right. I feel like you should definitely go then. And take me with you so I can observe that. You should take me with you to your 5-year reunion as a present to me. Like, let that be my birthday present or something.
Well, next year for your birthday, I'll have been 5 years out from high school.
But yeah, so as a wrap up, please email us or tweet at us. Our email is EnneathingGoes@gmail.com. And our Twitter is @EnneathingGoes. Please leave us a review on iTunes. I forgot to check. Hold on. We are still a 5-star podcast. Look at us.
Congrats. Thanks to the 3 people who have given us stars.
3?
I have no idea. I'm just pulling that number out of my ass.
It's 1. We have 1 5-star rating, so we're still a 5-star podcast. So leave us a review. Also, just email or tweet us if you really liked the alcohol thing, because we can keep making that happen. I have so much alcohol.
My liver could handle it.
I'm so drunk. I am so drunk.
Perfect. I'm going to go cook, and we're going to stay on call.
Okay. All right. So, in the episode?
Yep.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.